Hello, I am the many-talented Mr. Jefferson, and today I would like to talk about a game I have been playing a lot off stream, and that game is Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. I had forgotten about Mechwarrior 5 because it was an Epic exclusive for so long. And honestly, I'm kind of happy I didn't get the game earlier because it sounds like the game has been vastly improved since it was originally released. And there has been a price drop as well. There are 2 DLC available for Mechwarrior 5 with a base game costing a reasonable $30. I picked up the game with all of its DLC, bundled at a discount on Steam, and I imagine the game will be a fantastic value if you find it during a Steam sale. My friend and fellow streamer VRstuz only has the base game, but the game doesn't prevent him from playing with me, and even acts as if he had the DLC when I host the game, which is honestly quite impressive. The reason I went all in, even though the game was not on sale, was because it was reasonably priced, and I correctly judged by the trailers that this was a game I would probably spend a lot of time playing. I have loved big, stompy mechs duking it out in the middle of a cityscape since the days of Voltron, Transformers, and Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, which you may not have heard about, but I talk about in one of my videos about the 80s cartoon hack-and-slash game Myth Force. Shameless plug, linked in the description. Like and subscribe. You know the drill. Mechwarrior has its own 80s legacy with its own cartoons, but I much preferred the Macross cartoons, and later on the 4-part Macross Plus OVA, which has some of the most amazing music and robot fighting action ever animated. I am largely ignorant of the Mechwarrior and Battletech lore or game rules, which is something to take in mind as I discuss the game. My impression of Mechwarrior 5 has evolved since I started playing it. My first impression was that it was a serviceable but repetitive game. It was quite enjoyable for what it was, but not exactly groundbreaking, but that was why I was looking at Mechwarrior as just another action game and not what it really is. When it comes down to it, Mechwarrior is a toy box, a toy store, and a playground all in one, where you can smash your toys together, and as a toy box, it's absolutely amazing. There are 3 main aspects to Mechwarrior 5. There is the money management portion where you have to make decisions about what jobs to take, the cheapest way to keep your mechs in fighting condition while acquiring more cash, and as far as management games goes, this part of the game is pretty solid. The second aspect to the game is the acquisition portion. Why are you making money? To buy new toys. There are a lot of different kinds of mechs and weapons to mix and match in your 4-man assault team. And most of it is pretty damn expensive, especially when you find a rare limited edition variant or a hero variant of a mech which really mimics my real life experiences. I didn't work at a gas station just to make money. I wanted to buy cool shit. And I worked hard to get promotions and become a manager because I wanted to buy more expensive and cooler shit. Figuring out how to manage your contracts and repairs and tweaking your mech's loadout will facilitate your ability to get all the best toys, which will in turn make you far more effective in combat, which is the third main aspect of this game, smashing your toys together. The combat in Mechwarrior 5 feels good, and there is a decent variety of different mission types to keep it interesting. The mechs feel heavy and you can hear the moving parts, the hum of the lasers recharging, the solid thunk as a large caliber round is reloaded and ready for use, and the distant explosion as one of your opponent's cores goes critical and detonates, turning potentially valuable salvage into worthless ashes. Victory is not determined by who has the biggest guns. Tactical thinking comes into play as each of your mech's parts have their own armor and health, meaning you will need to think about which portions of your mech to present to your enemy while your weapons are reloading. You want to keep moving because it reduces enemy accuracy, and since mech parts each have their own armor and health, that means you're also going to want to accurately target your enemy's head, core, or legs for a quick takedown, or target a specific arm to disable a powerful array of weapons so you can focus on other targets without taking a pounding or losing your own offensive capabilities as enemies attack your own weapon hardpoints. There are walled encampments, buildings, and natural canyons you can use for cover as you fight off tanks, helicopters, automated weapon systems, mortar embankments, and enemy mechs in a variety of mission types. There are some pretty straightforward defense or kill target missions, but there are longer multi-part missions where you have to capture and defend an outpost with optional targets that will impact the course of battle by allowing friendly reinforcements to arrive and to help you hold against the siege. There are also item caches you can loot hidden in enemy outposts, which will give you additional C-bills and gear. This was added by a DLC, which you need to have, or you need to be hosted by somebody who has the DLC to access. Speaking of strategies, C-bills, and gear, I managed to pull myself out of a severe disadvantage early on in the game trying to play it as a typical RPG. I usually try to play as the good guy, so I was siding with the independents whenever possible, but that turned out to be a mistake, and the reason why is obvious when you look at the map, because you will see huge blobs of color representing the various factions that rule the galaxy, and you might note the independents don't have territory. As a mercenary, you want and need to curry favor with these ruling factions, otherwise you will find you don't have as many negotiation points available, which means less payout, less salvage, less insurance, and no airstrikes. The game subtly hints that you might not want to work for the independents by offering a much better reward if you side with the pirates early on, and that's a good lesson. Being a nice guy is a luxury you can't often afford. I am currently working my way out of a hole I dug for myself, and in part that is because I'm not familiar with the lore of Battletech. I don't see this as a problem because it means there is a lot more for a player like myself to explore in this well-established universe, and a deep understanding of the lore isn't going to help my aim, so it won't affect my enjoyment of the game. I have heard this changes a bit with some of the DLC, which takes place during a very specific set of events, but I'm not ready to tackle the challenge of either DLC stories, so I won't be able to comment on that for myself yet. I had really been enjoying single player, but this is a 4-player co-op game, and I bribed somebody into playing with me who likes squad-based tactical shooting and pretty landscapes, and I'm glad I did, because this game really shines in co-op. Having a teammate with a brain who communicates and adjusts strategies according to the situation on the fly brings combat effectiveness to a whole new level, and allows for cheaper repair bills and better chances to salvage better mechs to add to your ranks because of the way salvage shares and the damage system works. The more salvage is worth, the more shares it costs to acquire. Things like weapons and ammo all have set costs, but battle mechs are different because their condition affects their value. So if I see low value targets, we will focus on the legs or the core. Destroying a leg completely will disable the mech, but leave it relatively intact, which is very efficient. Focusing on the core of a battle mech with high-powered artillery can be equally as effective, but risks a core detonation, which won't leave anything to salvage. When I see a high value target, I'll call out to bully the target to my teammates, which means I want to break its arms, then spread as much damage around as possible before breaking its legs. If the high value target shows up as salvage, it can cost fewer shares than a much weaker battle mech, because the repair cost will be factored in. And this repair cost is going to be far cheaper than buying a mech on the market. And because they cost fewer shares, you might be able to acquire 2 battle mech upgrades from a single battle if you have more than 20 salvage points and the battle mechs are severely damaged. Headhunting better battle mechs with a friend is extremely fun and makes you feel kind of like a pirate. And I feel like I would really like to take on the DLC Legend of the Kestrel Lancers with a group of 4 players. Speaking of teammates, links to VRstuz YouTube and Twitch channels are linked below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to me as well, because this is my video after all. Stuz! Hey Stuz, earn your endorsement. Tell them what you think of the game.
Thank you, Jefferson. I'm going to be honest, when I first started playing Mechwarrior 5, I was not impressed whatsoever. I found it quite boring and just overall I didn't really have fun. However, when I started playing co-op, everything changed. And as Jefferson said, this game shines in co-op. There's something about having 4 of your friends rush an enemy base. This feels so cool in this game. It's one of those games where on the surface you don't think there's a lot, but you really have to play it, and play with friends especially. to really understand how well made this game is. It reminds me a lot of a childhood game I used to play a lot when I was younger, called Mechwarrior, which was originally released on the Xbox original back in 2002. And what really made it stand out at that time, it was one of the first games to actually support Xbox Live. It also had split screen, which was amazing. Me and my brothers would spend so much time playing this game. It was so satisfying just being able to take down entire buildings in this big, massive mech. Only until recently I realized that I needed a game that was just like Mechwarrior. And I'm so glad to say that Mechwarrior 5 is that game. Despite me saying the negative thing about the single player, the co-op just outweighs it so much more. This is coming from a base game holder where I don't have access to any of the DLC, and the only time I have been able to get access to DLC is when I play with Jefferson. And that's completely fine in my eyes because this game is meant for co-op. My advice when going into this game is get yourself a friend. And being cross-platform, you really don't have an excuse. And if you do still intend to play by yourself, then you need to at least get one of the DLCs that lets you access the career mode. Now for the big question, do I recommend this game? If you intend to play this game with friends, then absolutely, this game is 100% worth it. If you intend to play by yourself, I recommend getting DLC just so it's a lot more enjoyable experience. Because as I said, the single player for a base game holder, it's not worth it. That's all I have to say. I'm going to give the video back to Mr. Jefferson. If you're interested in what I do on YouTube, I make reviews of VR games. If you want to check it out, I'm pretty sure you'll leave a link down in the description. Well, I hope he does at least. So a big thank you for listening, and thank you to Mr. Jefferson for inviting me.
While looking up the name of the DLC, Legend of the Kestrel Lancers, I noticed that there's a third DLC coming soon, featuring the classic Hatchet Man battle mech featured in the 80s cartoon, along with 9 new melee weapons, a bunch of melee variants of other mechs, and a couple of new biomes and an animated mech skin. I'm down for some real rock'em sock'em robot action, so seeing the planned melee expansion for the game makes me real happy. The Call to Arms DLC seems to come with a number of very welcome free updates to the game as well, allowing you to deploy more tonnage at a cost, swap battle mechs on death and single player, allow you to tone down the challenge of the Kestrel Lancers DLC, and there are also improvements to star map and contract screens, which brings me back to my original statement that I'm happy I just now got Mechwarrior 5 since the developers seem to have improved the game quite a bit as they have continued to work on it and are continuing to do so, which is very impressive. I would tell you about the graphics, but I didn't shoot all this B-roll for no reason. I think the game looks fantastic. The landscape and skybox are great, and the battle mechs look fantastic in your repair bay and in the field. Mechs take damage and lose limbs, and you can see all the damage up close in your dropship. I think the graphics look amazing for how well the game performs, and the music and voice acting is serviceable. If this was a Macross game, I would be kind of disappointed with anything less than a Yoko Kanno level of soundtrack, but Mechwarrior isn't particularly known for its music, and the more generic hard rock music is probably a good choice for a game where you should be more focused on communication with your teammates. I haven't really cared about the plot so far, but I don't really think that's the heart of the experience. This isn't really a plot-driven game. It's about running a mercenary company. Legend of the Kestrel Lancers is supposed to be a much more story-focused DLC, but I haven't touched that content yet because the story comes with a very tight timetable for events, which requires a greater mastery of the game than I currently have as a new player. Mechwarrior 5 feels like a game I'm going to get a lot of value out of. The price seems reasonable, and I could see myself putting hundreds of hours into perfecting my mercenary outfit. If you like giant robots, money management, and combat that feels a lot like a naval conflict, Mechwarrior is a game I would highly recommend. Especially with friends.
He's in the van.
Oh my god, it's Thomas' tank engine. It's Thomas' tank engine. We angered the crab.
The crab.
Take him to the city, he can kill civilians.
I might quench his first.
Alright, his arms are almost down.
Oh. Stop, just got no scoped. I got no scoped. He's got Super Saiyan. He doesn't need arms.
God damn it. This Stuz is dying.
Two comrades explode suddenly.
Stuz, do you have weapons at all?
He does. He has weapons. He's just leaving you to die.
The fuck, Stuz?
My stomach hurts.
Stuff just got no scope. I got no scope. Get away! He's got a Super Saiyan. He doesn't need arms.
God damn it. This Stuz is dying. He's coming up through the canyon.
He's here for his first
I've
time.
committed war crimes.
Fuck, the SpongeBob show went downhill fast.
He
It's a
shot me in the
crab.
back.
They're tough as shit.
I saw Stoff explode into a million pieces.
That was
turned
funny
round
as
and
fuck.
He shot me in the back.
Oh, Stoff died first?
So
Yeah.
what I saw is that as I was coming out of town, wait, I just hear Prebuilt go, "Stop gun, no scope." Like, the next thing I know, he's fucking blown up.
Ah, you fucking bananas. Okay, so
Like, tank controls on a tank, great. Tank controls on a mech, great. But like, if you're putting tank controls on a person, you know, who are meant to have fluid movement. Oh, I'm dead.
you. What the hell
What?
just happened, Stuz?
It was fine. Everything was going
You
great.
just cost me so much money.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I got hit by one tank shell.
Farmer.
arm
Farmer
was-
lived.
Our armor was good. My armor was good and everything. I was doing great. Only thing that wasn't doing great was the left arm, because I had a gun off it. I swear, she did not die there. I'm so sorry. Oh no, it's fine. The damage is not even that bad. I was gonna say, now let's be real. This place can still be usable.
Yeah,
It's a commando.
some places like you have to flat.
Detecting targeted battle mech in the area.
New target, Commander.
Coming, guys.
Yo, what the fuck? He just walked into me, man. I've lost my gun and my right leg.
Oh, it looks like he blew up.
Yeah, he ran right into me.
Stuz, you took so much damage on this mission.
Jefferson, where are you? There you are.
Betrayal.
You're costing me more money.
Exactly. Cut me some slack. I cannot control where this fucker walks.
All right.
Well, not the commando. I control where I walk. That's fine.
Let's get you back aboard the ship.
Oh, I'd love to get a crab. We don't have crabs yet. All right, everybody did good except for Stuz.
I killed a mech. I killed 2 mechs, unlike you fucks.
Well, the mission was to destroy the buildings, so you were.
I destroyed homes and businesses.
Oh, god damn it, Stuz! We went over budget on damages.
It's legit not my fault. It walked into me.
Let's see, 26,000, 69,000,
Jefferson, I will cry. It legit ran into me. There's nothing I could have done. I was backing away from it the best I could. I was going through a building at the time. And it was just like, I choose you. Oh,
Oh,
my
no, his
cannon's
laser's pointing
gone.
at me. His
My
laser's
cannon's
pointing
gone.
at me.
Why is your cannon gone?
It's because Jefferson, he shot it. What do you think?
I didn't drop it in a field somewhere.